Over the last 11 years as freelance filmmaker, there are some fundamental truths that I have learned that matter a lot more than whatever camera kit it is that you're using. Now, I know this could just come across as another randomer on the internet who's saying, oh, gear doesn't matter. But honestly, stick with me and hear me out. I feel like in the really early beginning stages of my career, I was really focused on all the equipment that I had to bring to make a shoot successful. But your social skills as a documentary filmmaker matter so much more than you realize. Your ability to be able to connect with and truly understand your documentary subject and where it is that your character is coming from and the journey that they are taking matters so much more than whatever camera it is you're using, whatever microphones that you're using. These are people that are letting you into their world. They are letting you into moments of real vulnerability in their lives, and potentially they've gone through some trauma and they are going through adversity. Your ability to be able to connect with them and empathize with them on a really true human level is going to be the determining factor on whether they allow you in and open up to you on projects that I am brought on to help on. I always find that if I take 10 or 15 minutes just before the shoot even begins to go up to our documentary character and introduce myself and ask them how their day's been and, just get to know them a little bit, I always find that they are more willing to open up on camera. I'm not a complete stranger. I'm not just this strange man just hiding behind the camera, asking them really, really personal questions. Just getting up and chatting to them and breaking that ice is so important right at the beginning. I've been incredibly lucky that whenever I have been making my own passion projects and self-funded documentaries, that my characters have given me the time to have multiple calls with them and have multiple meetings with them, just to get to know them personally and find out what's happening in their lives outside of the scope of the documentary, as well as just giving me a lot more insight into what it is that they were going through at particular moments in their lives, or what it is that they're going through right now. That all helps within the pre-production and the planning of where we're going to try and take the documentary. Your ability to be empathetic and kind towards your documentary characters, whether you've met them for the first time or whether you have had weeks or months of planning before you've even started the shoot, is going to be the defining factor on whether you get emotional access with them or whether they are going to completely freeze up and block you out. This ability to be empathetic and truly listen to what it is that they are saying isn't something that was taught to me whenever I was going through my film studies in university. This is something that I've had to learn over the last 11 years through a lot of trial and error, because for me personally, I am quite a naturally quiet and introverted person. I don't love to interact with people if I don't have to. Once I took the effort and I took the time to connect with my documentary subjects, I found that it just opened up a whole extra layer of depth, and that only helps in your storytelling. If you have spent any time within the film industry, you will know that it's often a lot more about who you know rather than what you know. Now, I'm not saying you can make an entire career out of being a documentary DP because you know someone who has a lot of money, but the flip side is that there are people out there who are getting jobs that you and I want, not because they are incredibly talented or because they've got an incredible creative eye, but because they have put in the time and the effort in networking earlier on in their career, and they have nurtured those relationships, and it's ended up in tangible work. What I will say is there is a lot more to networking than just a bunch of tired businessmen passing over cards. It always reminds me of that one scene from American Psycho, the one. I think as creatives and filmmakers, we often feel that networking is a bit of a dirty word. It feels very transactional, and nobody wants to be the person that's going up and handing out business cards and being like, look at how class my work is and all of that. But I think in 2026, especially with the rise of social media, networking no longer has to look like that. In my experience, at the very least, I have found the best networking that I've done has been just showing up to informal meetups. It's been how I conduct myself and chat to other people on set. It's sending Instagram DMs and honestly, even sometimes cold outreach emails. But the funny thing is I'm giving you this advice as someone who struggles to follow it themselves. But every time I do follow through with it, every time I do make the effort to actually interact with my peers, I have found that whenever I show a genuine interest in what it is that they are doing, that they do end up remembering you. Sure, not everybody you meet is going to be in a position to give you a job, but that doesn't mean that you should treat them with any less respect. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what they are going to be saying about you to other people. It's best to be genuine and not transactional or salesy in how you approach people. I make a point of every year at the beginning of the new year in January to reach out to ad agencies or PR agencies that I haven't worked with before, and just quickly introduce myself and say, hi, this is what I do. I keep it short, I keep it professional. In fact, here's one of the emails that I actually sent out. You can pause and read that if you want. But you can see I keep it short, I keep it friendly, and at the end of the day, I'm just introducing myself really quickly and saying hi, and can I swing by the office just to have a chat and see if I can help you in any way later on down the line. This year, I've had a lot more people get back to me sooner than I expected, because a lot of the time I send these emails and hear absolutely nothing. But the flip side is that I always put a notification in my calendar to send a follow-up email every month or two. And even if I don't hear anything from those follow-up emails, I will still send them just another follow-up email, maybe a year later. And sometimes people will just have absolutely no interest. Sometimes your email ends up in spam. At the end of the day, you don't know why they haven't contacted you. So don't take it personally. You have to have a really thick skin, because you're going to end up with a lot more rejection than even reply emails just to say, oh, we're not even interested. You're just going to have complete silence. Don't be annoying whenever you're sending out emails or Instagram DMs, or even just in person. You don't want to accidentally piss someone off because you're messaging them at all hours of the day. So just anytime you're messaging someone, whether it's email, Instagram, or even just chatting to someone in person, keep it friendly, keep it concise, because at the end of the day, you don't know whenever you're going to get a call back for a job. It's sort of tied into part of my points about networking is you have to be willing to put in the work, even whenever people aren't looking at what you're doing. I genuinely feel that a lot of your success in this industry as a filmmaker, as a creative, is entirely dependent on the amount of effort that you put into your work. Even whenever you're not being paid to do it, you have to genuinely care about what you do. You have to love the process of creating things. I don't have a massive following on social media. I don't make stuff for other people or for external validation. I just genuinely love making things. I just genuinely love sharing it so that my friends and family can see it. I have had so many opportunities come out of creating my own passion projects, whether it's been a little documentary that I made about my friend going and seeing the aurora for the first time in Iceland, or right now I'm working on a documentary about a guy who has MS and what he's doing to battle his symptoms. And even whenever I just post about that and the little short filming days that we've done together already, people are genuinely excited about the story and they're really excited to see the outcome. As a creative, you need to have fun with what you're doing. You need to enjoy the process, because that is the whole point about what we're doing. So putting in the effort, putting in the time is so important, because whenever you start working in a professional capacity for clients, a lot of the time that stuff isn't going to be your best work. There isn't going to be the time or necessarily the money to be able to perfect something. So a lot of these things are stuff you have to go out and shoot it and hand it over, or you have to edit it the same day, or a lot of that world is a lot of fast turnaround. So to be able to take a step away from that and work on something that you are truly passionate about is so important, just for your own creativity. I have found that whenever I have taken the time to make my own passion projects and just shoot things that look cool for my showreel, it has opened the door to a lot more opportunities down the line. It shows people that see my showreel that I have a particular creative voice, and that there's certain things I am really excited about showing and shooting and sharing. That was nice alliteration. And also it importantly shows that you're able to take initiative and want to go out and do stuff, and that you're developing a creative voice and a creative language that's your own. In terms of the day-to-day working with clients, putting in the extra work can look like showing up that bit earlier. It can be doing a little bit of extra research before a shoot is even going ahead, staying later to shoot in better light, and even just caring about what's going on in the project beyond your role. Putting in the extra time and effort may feel like it's a complete waste, but honestly, handling projects with a bit of extra care and attention is the thing that gets you noticed. Filmmaking is a team sport, and if you can show directors or producers or clients that you actually care about what it is that they're making, they're far more likely to give you a call for the next job. I think one of the most difficult things as filmmakers, and even just as human beings, is learning when to let go. For me, I know that whenever I have an idea in my head of how I want to shoot something or tell a story in a particular way, it's very hard for me to let go and deviate from that original path. But I have found that whenever I actually allow things to just unfold naturally, that it opens the door for a lot more natural and a lot more human, genuine responses to happen. Obviously, this takes a level of skill and practice, something that I'm still learning to this day. I have by no means mastered it as a skill. I know I have definitely missed out on moments in the past because I have tried to force a particular outcome whenever I'm shooting something. You know, I've asked my subject to do something and they're not necessarily 100% comfortable with it, but they do it anyway, and it just never shows up right on camera. I found that whenever I sort of loosen my control over the situation, things just unfold more naturally, and it just feels so much more genuine and authentic on camera. And I think that really just helps elevate the story whenever you get these just moments of authenticity that shine through. A lot of great moments can happen in the gaps, in those in-between moments that you least expect them to happen. And it's a skill to learn when to just hold back but keep rolling and just allow things to happen in front of the camera naturally. I feel like those are the moments that we all strive for as documentary filmmakers, and I feel like the less that we focus on the perfection of something, the more genuine and honest the moment can be. At the end of all of this, what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that your camera kit and your audio kit is not the be-all end-all. There is so much more to filmmaking than what gear you're using. For me, it took me longer than I would like to admit to come to that realization, but at the end of the day, you know, the camera, the audio, and your lights, they're tools to be used. It doesn't matter what brand there are, and to an extent, it doesn't matter how many frames they can record in a second, and it doesn't matter whether something has 32-bit float audio or how bright your light is. Whenever you're beginning as a filmmaker, I feel like a lot of these spec sheets that come out can just be so overwhelming and so exciting. The real magic of filmmaking happens in the stories that you're trying to tell. It happens whenever you take a step back from all of the hype around kit and really focus in on what it is that you want to say in the films that you make, whether it's documentary or narrative, or whether you're just trying to make cool shit to go up on Instagram. I feel like whenever you focus on people and stories and trying to get the most out of the situations that you're filming in, and whenever you put in the time and the effort to nurture relationships with other people in your industry, that's whenever you begin to let go of the short-term mindset of, oh, I need this and I need that and I have to spend X amount of money on this piece of kit, otherwise I can't make my film. And you sort of level up as a creative, you level up as a filmmaker, and you start thinking about more long-term goals of, oh, I want to be able to create this film. And in order for me to do that, I need to find a good story, and I need to be able to get good locations, and I need to get access. And those things are far more important than your camera. Looking back at it now, I would say that I wish I had spent a lot more time working on my soft skills as a filmmaker, so learning my social skills and developing my network. All of those things, it takes time. It honestly takes years to even begin to say that you have grasped the fundamentals of it, or at least if you're anything like me. If you're naturally extroverted and know everybody, then good for you. I wish that was me. But I would definitely say if you're in the beginning stages of your filmmaking career and you want to get into documentaries and things like that, learn to be kind, learn to listen, learn to be empathetic with your characters. And whenever you start to do that, your confidence as a filmmaker will grow. And at the end of the day, that will only help your work. Thank you for joining me through another one of my rambles. Hopefully it was of use to you. Hopefully it made any semblance of sense of what I was saying. But yeah, that's all for now. I'll catch you in the next one.